Hi there, today we're going to have a look at NATO green paint. I've just received the paint that I ordered from Marcus Glen, and we're going to have a go and see how well it colour matches to the standard green that's on the pinzgauer, to see how much of the truck we're going to need to paint. If it's a really good match, then I'm only going to have to paint a couple of panels. If it's pretty far different, then we're going to have to paint the whole truck, which obviously is a significantly bigger job. So we'll have a look at what arrived in the post today. So today through from UPS delivery came our tin of NATO green satin and TH25 thinners, which is the recommended thinners to use with this paint. What we have in the background here is the side door to our pinzgauer. This one is off the truck originally, and it has quite a bad rust section and along the inside of the back edge of this edge is all rusted out as well. However, we've got some nice flat pieces. What we're going to do is we're going to put a bit of masking tape across the panel. We're going to try and spray one side of the masking tape so that we can get a clear shut line to see what the different contrast between the two different paints is. So as usual, we've got our GoPro up here. We've got our panel laid out underneath it, using our Sealy gold seal gun. We're going to mix up about I normally work in about a 90-10 mix, 90% paint, 10% thinners. We'll have a go with that, see how that sprays, and that's also going to give us the idea of how the spray is going to go with future paint jobs. So we've masked our area here. We're going to plant and paint on this left hand side of this blue strip. Before we can start that, then we need to give our paint a good mix. So opening up the tin, right, wet, the paint looks a little darker. We've got to have a lot of paints change dramatically in colour when they're mixed, so we'll have a good old mix through of this as well. And also they change a lot when they dry. So it does seem fairly well mixed. It has literally just come through the post, so I would imagine it's been stirred up a bit in the back of the van. This is quite a thin paint, I would suggest already, so that is endorsing the fact that I'm probably only going to be using a 10% thinning. It's not a particularly fumey paint, although it does recommend that you wear the correct PPE, which I'll always fully endorse. I'm not a fan of breathing in this stuff. So let's just have a dab there. That doesn't look too different a colour on that panel. So what we're going to do is we're going to about half fill this jar. Try not to spill, which never works fresh out the tin. Always have cloths handy. tin never pours first time. Any tin will never pour first time. We'll mop up this bit that we spilled down here. So that's just a little over half of this jar now. And then we're going to open up our thinners. This looks like better thinners containers that have got a nozzle in them. Right, still sealed inside. So we're just putting in about the equivalent of 10%. I'm not a professional painter, which you can probably tell by the fact that I do a lot of stuff by eye. I know that some painters will probably laugh at the way I'm doing this. Right, so there we are. We have paint thinned to about 10%. We're going to give that a mix again. I'm sure professional painters also don't use coffee jars to mix their paint in. It has had the coffee washed out of it. Right, now that that's had a stir, I'll give it another wipe down. So there we are, that's about 10% thinned. I'm going to put my mask on now, so if the video gets a bit muffled, that's the reason. Right, so mix paint, a little bit in the pot. We're not going to go too mad because we're not going to paint acres and acres. Connect that up to the air. And we'll just on this rag have a bit of a test spray, right? So it's coming through. So we'll just see how it paints. It looks like it's got quite a good shine to it for being a satin. I'm told not to use matte paint because matte paint is porous and therefore will let water through and will let the panel underneath rust. So that's apparently a big no-no to use matte paint. That has thinned that too much, I would suggest. We've got some running down this edge. Before this dries, I'm just going to slowly peel this tape off and we'll have a look at how it's dry here. So we'll let that dry and then we'll see what our ship line looks like and how much variation in colour there is. Right, so while this half's drying, I've masked another piece off, and I'm going to spray just on this side with the straight paint without it being thinned, because I think that the thinning is thinning the paint too much. It is quite a thin paint straight out the tin, so I'm wondering if we'll get away with just straight paint. So I'm just going to pour a small amount straight into the gun. Go. Quite more. Make sure the lid goes back on.
So see how this goes just with straight paint. Next we need to do there's definitely more of an orange peel effect,
Which is not a bonus for the unthinned version. So we've got a really smooth finish over here and quite an orange peely finish. We'll try and take a photograph of that so we can see that at this stage. It could be that I need to find a sweet spot in the thinning somewhere between the two. And I think that's probably what the answer is going to be. Right, so today 2 days have passed since I painted the side door with our new green paint that arrived. So we'll have a look at what the result looks like. We put masking tape down here and we painted to the left of this line and to the right of that line, okay? So this, when we painted it, looked an extremely shiny paint. Thankfully now, I'm quite happy to say that it matted out really, really nicely once it dried off. So I'm really quite happy with it. It comes out a shade darker, and I would say very slightly bluer green than the original. It's going to mean that we're going to have to paint the whole truck, which I was under the impression I was going to have to do anyway. So that's a bit of a review of this Marcus Glen paint. Actually really nice to spray. This patch we did with 100% paint. This was about 10% thinned. The 10% thin was just a little too thin. The 100% was just a little too thick. So I think we're looking for about a 5% mix. when we do our final paint jobs, which I'm going to be getting on with one of them, which is the rear door of the truck. There's going to be a whole video on just refurbishing the rear door of the pinzgauer, so you're going to see all that. This was just a trial panel because this is one we've replaced. If you look at the previous YouTube videos, you'll see the video of stripping this door to put all the parts onto the new powder coated door. That powder coated door is a different shade of green again, so therefore it's most definitely going to have to get painted in the new colour, because it's noticeably a lot lighter green than the rest of the stuff.